If you drive a newer Ford vehicle, you have a lot more patience than I. And if you're in the market for another vehicle, you might think twice about Ford after hearing this. Ford issues do not drive warning as 1.3 million vehicles are recalled. This is from Yahoo Autos. And this was just posted on June 26th of 2025, way early in the morning for some reason at 3:27 a.m. Middle of the night. It's almost as if they don't want people to hear about this. Ford is recalling more than 1.3 million vehicles across the United States, citing serious mechanical and software issues that could lead to accidents, including one defect severe enough to trigger an urgent do not drive order. By the way, the 1.3 million vehicles, that's just for June. That's only for June of 2025. That doesn't include May, April, March, February, or January, which is why in the title of this video, it mentions 2,581,423 Ford vehicles. That's just Ford. And that's only for 2025 so far, and we're not even halfway through the year yet. How do you like that? In filings with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the automaker confirmed that 2,345 heavy-duty pickup trucks, including certain F-250, 350, 450, and 550 models, may be missing a key brake pedal spring. That's nice. If the spring wasn't installed during manufacturing, the brake booster push rod could disconnect while driving, leading to a total loss of braking. Complete loss of braking. Good God. Let's hope you're not on the interstate and that happens. For crying out loud. Motor Trend reported that owners of those specific models have been told not to drive their trucks until they are inspected and repaired. Ford said the fix will be provided at no cost, which, yeah, duh. And rental vehicles will be offered during service. Okay, yeah, that's nice. Are they going to be pickup truck rentals? I doubt it. This mechanical issue is just one part of a larger recall campaign. Ford also recently recalled nearly 1.1 million vehicles due to a rear view camera software defect that can cause the image to freeze or fail completely, raising the risk of backing accidents. Models affected by the camera glitch include 21 through 24 Broncos, F-150s, Edges, and Mach-E's. Well, there's very few people driving Mach-E's, thankfully, as well as 22 to 25 Transits and 24 Mustangs, among others. Ford also told regulators it had received dozens of complaints and was aware of one minor crash related to the issue. Another 200,000 Mustang Mach-E electric vehicles are being recalled due to a risk that passengers could become trapped in the back seat if the battery is low. Lovely. Faulty software may keep rear doors locked even after the front passengers exit. Second row passengers can still exit the vehicle as long as they can reach way up to the front door handle and release the latch. Ford says repairs are underway and owners should expect letters detailing the recalls. While no serious injuries have been reported, the volume and variety of issues have put a spotlight on the automaker's quality control and on the importance of checking your VIN number before your next drive. And that's that. So the average vehicle has around 30,000 different parts that are assembled into the vehicle. If you're driving something, especially manufactured in or after 2020, that's a lot of parts. It's a lot of things that could go wrong. So I don't know if they're going to hide behind that excuse. They really shouldn't. This is all the more reason why vehicle automakers should be manufacturing their cars completely in-house, but they're not. Greater than 50% of the parts that are assembled into a Ford vehicle are produced in other factories, companies outside the U.S. Even if they were inside the U.S., that's still that they can't do any quality control over parts that they have no ability to have any oversight of. They just order the parts that come from a completely separate company that's contracted with Ford. If they produced all of their parts in-house, then they would have full quality control and we wouldn't be having this issue. So in case you're wondering why recalls are just way off the charts in recent years, that's probably why. And it's only getting worse. I don't even know if there's a single person who's bought a car since 2020 who hasn't gotten one of these letters, whether if it's a Ford or anything else, any kind of car auto manufacturer. They're sending letters all over the place. Everybody's having to get their cars worked on. And I mean, if you're driving a Ford F350, F450, 550, and they're going to stick you in a rental car, chances are if you're driving a 20 anywhere from a 2020 to a 2025 Ford F550, you're probably using it for work. It's probably a work truck. So what are they going to do? They're not going to give you a Ford F550 rental. I kind of doubt those exist. So anyway, let me get on to some of the other ones. This is infuriating, to be honest with you. It's absolutely insane that people are tolerating this. And by that, I mean, why would anybody ever buy another Ford ever again after reading this? There is no way I would ever buy a Ford after reading this. I'll set aside the fact that I'm a Japanese car driver. And in fact, I don't even drive any cars in this century, not even in this millennium. The car that I drive every day, it's a 99, and it's a Mitsubishi. And I'm perfectly happy with it. It's almost at 250,000 miles. It's extremely basic, very easy to work on. Tons of room underneath its tiny little hood around the 92 horsepower engine, and I couldn't be happier. But people just have to keep the latest and greatest. They have to drive the newest and the greatest, or at least the facade of what seems to be the greatest, but it's anything but. So anyway, Ford has issued several recalls, that's an understatement, in 2025 for various vehicle models due to safety concerns. Here's a summary of the most recent recalls based on available information. I mean, it's a miracle that people haven't been killed yet. It's absolutely crazy. All right, so we're going to start with June and we're going to work backwards. So there's 197,000 vehicles. Now, you might hear a little bit of a repeat from the last article. I just wanted to do the overview that Yahoo Autos had published. And I'm going to work off of this information that was gathered from several sources, which I will show at the bottom of this, which Grok does show the sources that it gets its information from. So starting in June of 2025, the recalls, 197,000 vehicles. And this includes the Ford Explorer and the Lincoln Aviator. Ford recalled 132,853 Explorer and Lincoln Aviator SUVs due to door trim that may detach while driving, posing a road hazard and increasing crash risk. Dealers will inspect and replace the trim free of charge. Additionally, a recall for an unspecified number of vehicles addresses an issue where passengers could be trapped due to a child safety lock malfunction in 2023-24 Bronco four-door vehicles. Maverick, 2025, 9,181 vehicles were recalled due to a loose or dislodged airbag indicator light, which may fail to warn occupants of a deactivated airbag, increasing injury risk in a crash. Dealers will install retaining clips free of charge. Owner notification letters are expected by June 9th of 25. Ford's recall number is 25C17. The Ford F-150 Lightning BEV, years 24 and 25. They didn't bother telling us how many of these that they recalled, which leads me to believe it's probably every single one that they produced, but I don't know. That's just my speculation. That's all they're leaving me with. They didn't give me a number, so I'm just going to have to assume every single Ford F-150 Lightning BEV, however many they produced, all I can believe is that it was every single one that they made. They're being recalled due to a front upper control arm ball joint nut that may not be properly tightened, potentially causing steering loss and increasing crash risk. Isn't that nice? You're just cruising along in your Ford F-150 Lightning BEV, which you spend a shitload of money on, and out of nowhere, you have absolutely no steering and you freaking crash your brand new truck, and hopefully, if you're lucky enough, you might survive. Notification letters are expected by June 9th. Ford recall number 24S76. Of course, the dealers will inspect for free, as they always say they will, which I'm sure they will, but like when they're dealing with 2,581,423 recalls, I somehow doubt that they're going to get to your vehicle ASAP. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about buying a Ford anytime soon. So let's move on to the next one. We're still in June, by the way. This is June. This is just in the last few weeks. The Ford Bronco, F-150, Edge, Escape, and others. Too many to name in this. Thanks, Grok. Nearly 1.1 million, with an M, million. So 1,100,000 vehicles were recalled due to a software error causing the rear view camera image to delay or freeze or not display at all when in reverse, increasing crash risk. Affected models include 2021 to 24 Bronco F-150, Edge, 23 to 24 Escape, F-250, 350, 450, 550, F-600, and then also 2022 to 24 Expedition, 22 to 25 Transit, 21 to 23 Mach-E, 24 Ranger and Mustang, 21 to 23 Lincoln Nautilus, 22 to 24 Navigator, and 23 to 24 Corsair. Dealers will update the software via an over-the-air update or at a dealership. Yeah, they're wired into your car through the internet, just in case you didn't know. That they essentially have full control over your vehicle, or at least as much control as they want through an internet connection. So as your car sits in the driveway, they can, I mean, I don't know if I would use the word hack, but they can fully gain access to your vehicle. Probably all the other information that's in there, as well as your driving habits, how fast you're going, your turn radius, how quick you turn, things like that. Wouldn't surprise me, that's all. Just an opinion. I don't have proof to show you right now of that, but they are updating this recall through the internet, which they call over the air, because that sounds, a little more whimsical. It doesn't sound as 1984-ish as updating over the internet. But anyway, they can also do it at the dealership, so there is that too, because you technically do have the ability, I believe, to shut off access to your vehicle. I'm sure they make it extremely difficult, but there is a way to do it. You can look it up. I've already looked it up for Hondas. You can do it through a Honda. You can, essentially disconnect your vehicle from the internet. It's absolutely crazy that, that's a thing these days, but it is. Notification letters are expected by June 16th for that, for the software error causing the rear view camera issue. So moving on, Navigator and Expedition, we're still in June. 22 to 24 years, 273,789 vehicles were recalled due to front brake lines that may contact the engine air cleaner outlet pipe, potentially causing a brake fluid leak and reduced brake function. Dealers will inspect and replace the parts. Again, that's over 250,000 vehicles. 250,000. All right, so finally we're going to get into May. We're finally getting into more than just a few weeks ago. The Ford F-150, by the way, as I'm recording this, it doesn't show it on my screen, but I will tell you it is technically June the 27th. Yeah, June 27th. It's after midnight. Whatever. I'm not tired right now. I drank coffee this evening. So now that we're in May of 2025, this is the F-150 in the 2025 model. 9,181 vehicles were recalled due to a steering shaft that may detach. It may completely come apart, which will lead to a loss of steering control and an increased crash risk because, you might get into a crash if you can't turn your wheel anymore. Dealers will inspect and repair. The next one is the Ford Explorer SUVs from the years 2016 to 17. Almost 500,000 vehicles were recalled due to door trims that may detach while driving, creating a road hazard. Dealers will replace the trim. Now we're moving on to the Bronco Sport, Maverick, and the Lincoln Corsair from 2025. 6,781 vehicles with 1.5 liter or 2.0 liter MPC engines and engine block heaters are being recalled due to overheating risks when parked, which could cause a fire. Wonderful. So you may not want to park your Ford vehicle inside your garage anymore. Dealers will replace the heater and inspect the electrical cord. Notification letters are expected by June 6th. The next one is the Nautilus, Ford Nautilus from 2024. Let's see what's going on with that if you have one of those. 30,679 vehicles are being recalled due to multimedia module software issues causing panoramic and center displays to reboot, resulting in a blank screen and loss of your speedometer and your warning light visibility, which also will increase your risk of a car crash. Software updates will be provided. Notification letters, June 16th. Even though that was in May, they're still, taking forever to send these letters out to people, while they're driving a vehicle that is prone to getting into a crash without you even having any clue beforehand, unless you are one of the extremely few people that are always on a daily basis on top of all the recalls that are going on, or at least with Ford, if you're driving a Ford. I'm sure there's probably an app you can probably download that might notify you if a recall happens, which, if I'm driving a car that's manufactured after 2020, not just Ford, but for anybody, I would absolutely have that app. Because these recalls, good God. So the next one, Ford F-150, Explorer, and Transit from 2025. Only 154 vehicles. That's outstanding. It would be better if it were 0, but I'll digress. So these were recalled due to manufacturing defects in connecting rod and rod bearing components, which could lead to an engine failure and increased crash risk. So now we're getting back into March. There was only one big recall in March. That's good. They had a fantastic month. Only 64,531 vehicles were recalled that month. And from the years 2020 to 2023, including the Ford Edge Explorer, Lincoln Aviator, the Ford Corsair, the Bronco, the Maverick, the F-250, and the F-350. They were all, not all of the vehicles, but 64,000 of them were recalled due to incorrect repairs from prior recalls. Dude, you can't make this up. So they issued a recall. They fixed 64,000 of these recalls, and now they're issuing a recall of the recall due to incorrect repairs from prior recalls. And these involve the NHTSA numbers, and I'll let you read them on screen because there's a lot of them. Issues include rear view camera failures, undetected low battery charge, and window automatic reversal system malfunctions. Dealers will provide free repairs. Oh, now we're heading back into January, so there was none in February. It's the shortest month of the year, so that makes sense. January 2025 recalls the F Super Duty, the F650, the F750 from the years 2020 to 22. Almost 300,000 vehicles were recalled due to biodiesel deposits on the fuel pump drivetrain components, which could cause the pump to fail and loss of drive power. Dealers will update the powertrain control module software. See, it's a bunch of software issues. This is why it's nice to drive a car that's virtually 100% mechanical. It's so nice. Notification letters are expected by January 13th. So if that happened to you, you should have gotten it fixed by now. I'm just illustrating the absolute absurd number of recalls that have happened, and we're not even halfway through 2025 yet. So we're moving on next to the Ford Flex, the Fiesta, the Lincoln MKT from 2019. 30,000 were recalled due to rear view camera issues causing blank or distorted images, increasing the risk of a crash. A remedy is under development, so they don't even know how to fix those yet, with notification letters expected by February 3rd. You probably should just replace them, Ford. Oh, but that's just going to cost too much. We don't want to lose money, The Ford Nautilus from 2024 to 25, 47,818 vehicles are being recalled due to window automatic reversal systems that may not react correctly. Window automatic reversal systems that may not react correctly, increasing injury risk. Dealers will recalibrate the door modules free of charge. Notification letters are expected by February 3rd. And Ford's recall number is not specified for that one. And now, finally, the very last one on this extremely long list of recalls, the Ford Escape and the Lincoln Corsair from years 2020 to 24. There's 24,000 hybrid vehicles that were recalled due to high voltage battery short circuit risks. Dealers will update the battery energy control module software and replace the battery pack if necessary. So I don't know what risk it is. It sounds like a fire to me, but I guess they're just leaving it open to your imagination. But that's what it sounds like to me. High voltage battery short circuit risks. Sounds like sparks and flames, potentially smoke, electrical smoke. I don't know. Not sure, but that's what it sounds like. Notification letters are expected by January 20th. Ford's recall number 24S79. So that's what they have. And I might as well read this since it's already on the screen. How to check for a recall. So if you happen to be driving a Ford, any kind of Ford within those years that I specified, it doesn't mean that your car is under a recall. It just means that there's a chance that it is, because they didn't just produce 24,000 Ford Escapes and Lincoln Corsairs from those 4 years. It's just merely saying that of all of them, I don't know how many they made, 1 million or whatever, of the countless number of these vehicles that they produced over a 4-year period, 24,000 of them have this issue, or they believe it does, to the point where they want to replace whatever it is that they think is wrong with it. So in order to check, you can use your vehicle identification number or your VIN number on the Ford recall page, which is www.ford.com, or the NHTSA website, which is www.nhtsa.gov, or you can contact Ford customer service at 866-436-7332, or you can go to your local Ford dealer so they can try to sell you another vehicle while you're there getting your other one fixed. Well, yeah, this one's got a lot of problems. You'd be much better off getting a brand new one. Ford Pass app users can check for recalls via the service screen's recall tile. So there you go. Service screen, what, in your vehicle? I mean, of course, unless you've got screen recall issues, that wouldn't be very helpful. So all the recalls are free. Owners will receive notification letters. Some recalls are recalls. That is hilarious to me, man. You can't make that up. For the most accurate and up-to-date info, check your VIN on the NHTSA or Ford website, as recalls may be VIN specific. I mean, at least they make that easy. It's still an inconvenience, but I mean, at least you can plug your VIN number into the website to find out. So yeah, there you have it. And that's just Ford. Again, just Ford. I mean, you could do a different video for every single vehicle maker out there and probably still be shocked by the number of recalls that they're dealing with. And again, they're packing too much technology into these things, and they're sourcing all of this technology and these tens of thousands of parts from thousands of different companies out there. And they're all expected to work all together, all harmoniously and perfectly, as if nothing's going to go wrong. It's insane. It's absolutely crazy, which is probably why I'm going to stick with driving 90s vehicles for the rest of my natural life, if possible. So anyway, there you have it. 2,581,423 Ford recalls in 2025, including some of the recalls that display on screen, "Do not drive," which is totally what anybody would want to see on a brand new vehicle that they just purchased, is their vehicle screaming at them not to drive it. So why people tolerate this, I have no idea, but I know I sure as hell am not. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.